Smaug and Shelob might not seem so bad after The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. J.R.R. Tolkien's Middle-earth is filled with weird and wonderful fantasy creatures, some of which were designed to give small children nightmares. Two such beasts are Smaug and Shelob. Smaug is the massive, gold-loving dragon from The Hobbit, who sits inside the lonely mountain counting his riches and occasionally emerges to burn a few people. Dwelling in the shadows of Mordor as an unofficial guard for Sauron, Shelob is the giant spider who accosts Frodo and Sam on their way to Mount Doom, an arachnophobe's worst nightmare. Smaug and Shelob share an important common trait within Lord of the Rings lore. Both are extremely rare, virtually one-of-a-kind creatures not seen anywhere else in Third Age Middle-earth. This is because Smaug and Shelob are both remnants of older, darker species from a time such monsters were more prevalent. J.R.R. Tolkien never reveals exactly where Smaug came from before his dwarf-bothering days, but the most logical assumption is that he descended from dragons of the First Age. Tolkien also stays vague when discussing Smaug's exact size. Nevertheless, the Silmarillion confirms Smaug is far from the greatest of his kind. Laziness and complacency mean Smaug's ferocity pales in comparison to older dragons like Glaurung, while in Calagon the Black is confirmed as the biggest to ever exist. Shelob's origins aren't dissimilar to Erebor's scaly squatter. The giant spider is a distant descendant of a creature called Ungoliant, a primordial beast so powerful even Morgoth wasn't keen on crossing her. In strength and size, Shelob is a cheap eight-legged tribute act compared to Ungoliant. How Ungoliant First-Age dragons can appear in the Rings of Power. Amazon's The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power is set during the Second Age of Middle-earth, but from trailer footage, its known First-Age flashbacks will be included. The Rings of Power will at least touch upon the two trees of Valinor and, logically, will probably reveal how these dual wonders were destroyed by Morgoth and Ungoliant. A live-action Ungoliant appearance in The Rings of Power would immediately dwarf memories of Shelob from The Lord of the Rings, proving Frodo and Sam got off lightly at Cirith Ungol. If The Rings of Power is winding the clock back as far as the years of the trees, something of Morgoth's First Age reign could be rendered in live action also. Dragons were among Morgoth's primary weapons during this era, with the likes of Glaurung and Encalagon serving loyally until the end. If these beasts appear in The Rings of Power, they'll make Smaug look like a veritable puppy, in temperament, if not in size too. Even if named creatures like Ungoliant and Encalagon don't appear in The Rings of Power's First Age flashbacks, Amazon's Second Age timeline could still prove humbling for Smaug and Shelob. When Ungoliant came to Middle-earth, she didn't directly spawn Shelob. The Lord of the Rings' infamous spider was merely her distant descendant, which means other massive arachnids could feature during The Rings of Power, and since their ancestry is closer to Ungoliant, they'll no doubt be more fearsome. The same goes for dragons. Though J.R.R. Tolkien writes little of oversized lizards during his Second Age, they certainly existed somewhere. Given the choice between Smaug as a sated dragon with a poorly scale, and a ravenous dragon who still remembers the days he ruled supreme alongside Morgoth, we know who would rather steal a mountain from. Join Amazon Prime, watch thousands of movies, TV shows anytime, start free trial now.
My heart returns to you, dear, you were great. We can go back to mine if you want to. breath.